we see that the criminal Onyum, who they say is actually the one who killed those children at Ggaba Maranatha Primary or Secondary School. Now, I don't know if you have seen the last few days, this individual has been presented 3 different ways. On the first day when he was caught and Muhoozi posted a photo of him, he had no hair, nothing. Okay, he was clean cut, bald, almost bald, maybe bald. A few days later when he was presented, he had kaweke, and I mean not just hair. Okay, people who have lived with different nationalities, there are certain people who grow hair very fast. And then, especially, I could say the Caucasian descent may be fast. Arabs grow hair really fast. I've worked with people of different descent where they shave today, a couple of days later, they've grown a beard or everything has grown back, whatever the case might be. But I'm also a Ugandan first. I am black, okay? My hair, or your hair, kaweke, will take at least 2-3 weeks to even begin to show if you have shaved bald. Okay? Just to present that, there's follicles of hair here and there, and then it starts to grow all over. This man was presented on the 7th with kaweke of at least a 1/4 inch. Kaweke, which grows in a coil. That gentleman who was presented on Muhoozi's post the day that the crime was committed, when he said he was going to, I actually shared it on my page, when he said he was going to deal with him and possibly hang him in public or whatever the case might be, he was bald. Second day, he had hair. 7th day, he had hair. The 4th is when the crime was committed. On the 7th, the guy had hair. On the 7th day, he had a change of clothes. Okay? You have seen when anyone, let's say when Muhoozi abducted Eddie Mutwe, for whatever crimes they say Eddie Mutwe committed, Muhoozi, in fact, all NUP members are taken to torture chambers first. For the first month, they are beaten to pulp. Eddie Mutwe is a good example because Muhoozi came out and bragged about how much he has tortured Eddie Mutwe. Okay? Terrorist, okay, let's say Eddie Mutwe was a criminal of any sorts. We don't have any proof that Muhoozi says Eddie Mutwe has committed. This gentleman called Onyum, I actually have all his relatives. This Onyum person, whom they claim is from the United States, who to me is different from the individual at the crime scene and the individual paraded with the gadgets that he had, he was caught red-handed. Before and after killing, the teacher was a witness. The children were beyond witnesses of the crime. Individuals who caught this man red-handed right after what he did are witnesses. That man was never taken to court-martial, which that law of martial law passed last year in Parliament. He was not tortured whatsoever. Not tortured. This Onyum guy who killed 4 children, found dead on site with the panga in his hand, was taken by the police securely. If this is not a designed crime by Muhoozi to threaten, which by the way, in the last 2 weeks, at least 100 Ugandans have lost their lives by design. By design. 4 children at the school, the 4 children murdered by so-called Onyum. There's been several accidents. We have lost a judge. There's been 7 children in a patch. There has been another killing that is documented. Monitor just shared of some people who were killed just today. There's been an accident that has happened. There has been the driver of Little Muheju bus who was strangled and hung, just like the gentleman, the new chairman from Mukono, whom they said hung himself, but mysteriously had gotten up in the morning, prepared himself to go to pray in the mosque, and then all of a sudden his wife found him hanging on a tree, dead. You know, it begins to appear as if killing Ugandans has become a government policy. In fact, the best policy has been executed by Muhoozi openly. Openly. He says it, and he says, you know what? Just today he said something about his father wants Bobi Wine as a toy, but he wants Bobi Wine for a kill. He wants to kill Bobi Wine. This is a tweet that he shared explicitly. It's on my page. I shared that as well. So this goes to say that I'm not surprised that they couldn't let Waswa out, Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, honorable, to go and bury his wife, because previously he had requested for bail to go and take care of her while she was going through chemotherapy. It then begins to run in my mind that Uganda as a people, we are alone, because when you look to the judicial system, which is one of the arms of government, we don't have anyone there. Despite the fact that they themselves are dying every single day of cancer. They've made judgments such as when the late Segirinya his body was eating away with cancer. When every single time he filed for bail or requested bail, he was denied. Every single time he requested bail, he was denied until he ended up dying. That took precedence, and that is precedence that we could take. I personally did not believe that Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro would be released to go and even bury his wife, because it is a joy to the mafias running the government today, which includes Muhoozi, his uncle Salim Saleh, and the rest of the Karujires, the gang, Abbas, you know, those kinds of people. This is what they would love to see. And this is what they wish for Ugandans. This is exactly what they wanted, to bring Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro to his knees. In fact, we're lucky that he's still alive, because according to them, they wanted to make sure that Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro does not exist, especially after they took his win of his constituency. Because as you know, he would have won that election fairly and squarely had they let things run as they should. So in a time span of about 3 weeks, we have lost several people, and it's going to continue happening. When Muhoozi comes out and pretends to say things like this morning he posted a tweet, somebody wrote about it, I think the Monitor wrote about it, saying that, yes, Benedict, that's true. He came out and said that corruption in the military has gone down by 80%. Now, he can say anything he wants. Apparently, this guy doesn't need any stats to open his mouth and say anything, because he never has facts about anything. But if you recall what I had mentioned in my previous videos, where I said, because they're trying to get Muhoozi to become a front runner as president of Uganda, now that his father is under the weather after surgery with a stroke and unable to speak, he's going to try to find a way to come into the hearts of Ugandans. because he is playing exactly from his father's playbook, except he's stupid. His father is a brilliant man. He was brilliant when he had the time and could do these things. But Muhoozi is not of the same kind. Okay? So they're trying really by all means to present Muhoozi to us as a glorified savior. When he comes out and says things like he's going to deal with Onyum, he's going to kill him in public, or he's going to send him through trial, or what, speedy trial and all of that, or that he has cut down on corruption in the military by 85%, that really doesn't mean anything to a layman Ugandan. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because the way to our heart as Ugandan people, we're kind, we're loving, we're friendly. When we see someone like Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro go through what he's going through, it breaks all of us' heart. All of us. All of us. And even if these people continue to dial on this button, they continue to dial down on harming or hurting or subduing Ugandans, one day it'll be too much for us to contain. That human nature will take its course. And I hope that happens soon. Because for people like us, I don't see us being rushed into atrocities or actions that we feel like we may regret in the future. Our president is doing the best he can, and all of what he's doing, including his absence, causes sleepless nights, okay, and heartache to Museveni and his people. According to them, by now, they would have had Bobi Wine in their hands, totally compromised and ready to submit to them to become whatever they want to become. So, it doesn't surprise me, this is the point I would like to make, that things like this will continue to happen because they thrive in misery like this. But my hopes are that in faith, in good faith of the people of the judiciary, because you have the power to do certain things, that you make the right choice, because even if you feel like this is somebody else going through this, you may feel like today is Waiswa Mufumbiro's day, and that's the end of the story. It is not. I will give you an example of the former IGG. What's her name? Justice Lydia Mugambe. Many of you know what happened to Justice Lydia. She was the one before Betty Kamya. So when before Betty Kamya was elected or appointed, obviously, Museveni appoints. He doesn't elect. Because those are people who he puts in place to do his dirty work. So Lady Lydia Mugambe, the judge, was sent to work in the UN by Museveni. And when she went out to work there, certain things she did were not allowed by law in the UK, where she resided. I believe it had to do with bringing an employee or a staff member and not paying them right, or whatever the case might be, which would have been okay because in Uganda that's how they operate, but it is against labor laws in other countries to bring somebody and not follow the labor laws of that land. But that's besides the point. Now, Lydia ended up being judged at the Crown Courts in the UK, and her punishment was a sentence of 6 years. In fact, when the judge was sentencing Lydia, she said that because Lydia was not remorseful, did not show any, the pride that they come with from Uganda, did not show any remorse, did not feel bad about what she did, she ended up adding another 6 months on top of what she had already had, that was, that the judge had given her. So that just goes to say that however big you are today, it doesn't mean that you may never fall victim. And we only hope that in as much as they do what they do, and just like other people working for Museveni and the government of Uganda, today it's Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, but tomorrow you never know, and you never know how you may end up. As I said, the last 7 judges who have died in the last 5 years all died of cancer. Uganda is not a country that is, that we would say is absolutely exposed to cancerous chemicals or whatever, to say that every individual who dies in Uganda must die of cancer. Obviously, this is something that is engineered. Speaking of which, I think I got some information about the judges going to a conference. It's called the Joint Press Conference. Sorry, not that one. There's a conference that the judges are going to or have been invited to. It's called the ADR Conference. And it's called the Alternative Dispute Resolution Conference. And it's said to be funded by the World Bank. It's at the Judicial Training Institute. Only the people in the high courts and above have attended that event. Okay, and it's going to be at Serena Chigo. I think they're already attending that event. But from this event, I kid you not, because they have to get rid of evidence of what these people have done and what they know. Yes, Victoria, she's currently in jail in the UK. Victoria is asking if the judge, the former IGG is in jail. Yes, she is. She's in jail in the UK for the crimes she committed. So anyways, I was saying that this ADR conference where all the judges starting from the high court and above are attending is one of the strategies by this government to get rid of people who know a lot of information, who they feel like if they're caught or held, they will speak. So all those people in attendance of that event, they must watch themselves. It is highly recommended that after that event, if they are in there, that they go and check themselves, because like they did at the Taresita, where some of the military were given poison, this is no different event. They brag after they do things like this in their meetings, saying that we have finished this set of people. We have finished this set of people. The same way that I talked a few days ago, I said somebody called Spice Diana has been said to have been given poison. Salim Saleh was talking about it and rejoicing about having given her that. Give her the next few days. I don't know if she's aware. I mentioned if somebody knew her, would say something to her. It is things like that that is going to finish Ugandans. So the people who are continuing to perform these acts on behalf of these people must know that these people don't really care about them. They don't. The ones in Changkwanzi, do you know that the Changkwanzi event, they invited several NRMs, current NRMs elected and previous, and the ones who were not elected, to go and attend this event. At the Changkwanzi event, everybody's bed or sharing of rooms and all that was planned. That means you can't have a choice and say, I want to sleep in this hotel room or that hotel room. Or I want to sleep in the room with this person or the other person. First of all, that should be an insult just by itself. Why would you plan for who I share a room with? What if I'm not comfortable? Okay? What if I'm not comfortable to share a room with a certain person? But anyway, as always, they have all of that planned. And watch when they come back from that event, how many of these NRM, especially the seniors, especially the ones who have done or committed certain crimes, the ones who have been very, very active in executing the dreams and hopes of the Muhozis, watch and see how their lives are going to be shortened. Unfortunately, these people have to learn that way. The beds, amenities, towels, everything has been shared. In fact, there's a video where Honorable Mao is pleading with the MP of Bwiino, who wanted to run away and leave the event because she said she didn't want to share a room with so-and-so somebody. Okay? It is in things like that, in doings like that, that all the people who have died mysteriously have been given or done something to in prior arranged or meditated intentions like that. So watch when they come back. There's going to be a lot of losses of lives, which is the highlight of life these days. So many people from any activity that they've set up has been at risk of exposure to their poison. But as I mentioned, the boat is sinking and it's starting to fill